You think an airport makes its money from selling you a plane ticket? You are wrong. The truth is, airlines are often the least profitable part of the entire operation. Behind every gate, every hallway, every final boarding call, there's a business machine so quietly brilliant, it's been picking your pocket since the moment you walked through security. Airports today are not transportation hubs. They are shopping malls, real estate empires, data collection centers, and advertising billboards that just happen to have runways attached. And once you understand how this system actually works, you'll never look at a boarding pass the same way again. Stick with me for the next 15 minutes, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how a building full of tired, stressed, bored travelers turns into one of the most profitable business models on the planet. And trust me, the deepest secret isn't even the money. It's what they know about you. The ticket is a trap door. Here's the first secret most travelers never learn. Airlines, on their own, often operate on razor-thin margins, sometimes losing money on individual flights. So how does an airport stay profitable, sometimes making hundreds of millions of dollars a year? The answer is simple. They don't need you to fly. They just need you to walk through. For decades, airports made most of their money from something called aeronautical revenue, landing fees, gate charges, and fees paid by airlines just to use the runway and terminal space. But here's the problem. Those fees are heavily regulated in most countries. Airports can't just raise them whenever they want. So airport authorities had to get creative. They needed a second income stream, one with no regulation, no ceiling, and no limit on how much they could charge. That second stream is called non-aeronautical revenue, and it changed everything. The moment you clear security, you enter what insiders call the golden zone. This is the stretch of terminal between the checkpoint and your gate, and it's designed, engineered, and psychologically mapped down to the inch. Notice how the bathrooms are never near the entrance, how you're forced to walk past a perfume counter, a chocolate shop, and 3 restaurants just to reach your gate? That's not an accident. That's architecture built for spending. Airport retail space rents for dramatically more per square foot than almost any shopping mall on Earth. A tiny coffee stand in a major international terminal can pay rent that would make a Manhattan boutique owner faint. And guess who absorbs that cost? You do, in the form of a $6 bottle of water and a $15 sandwich. But here's the twist most people miss. The airport doesn't just collect rent from these shops. In many cases, it takes a direct cut of every single sale. It's called a concession fee, and it can range anywhere from a small percentage to nearly half of a store's total revenue. That means every time you buy a magazine, a neck pillow, or an overpriced burger, the airport itself is profiting twice, once from the rent and once from your wallet. Duty-free isn't really duty-free. Let's talk about the most misunderstood scam hiding in plain sight. Duty-free shopping. The idea sounds simple. No tax, so it's cheaper, right? Not always. Many duty-free prices are actually marked up before the tax is even removed, meaning you sometimes pay the same or more than you would at a regular store back home. Duty-free retail is one of the single largest revenue generators for major airports worldwide. These stores don't pay standard rent. Instead, many operate on revenue-sharing deals, splitting profits directly with the airport authority. That means every bottle of perfume, every carton of cigarettes, every oversized chocolate bar you grab in a panic before boarding is quietly funding runway maintenance, lounge renovations, and executive bonuses. Think about the layout again. Bright lighting, wide aisles, product displays at eye level, and staff trained specifically to catch people in that impulsive, bored, I have time to kill mindset. It's retail psychology weaponized against travelers with nowhere else to go. There's also a timing trick built into the entire system. Duty-free stores are almost always placed after security, not before. Because once you've cleared the checkpoint, you're relieved, relaxed, and far more likely to spend without thinking twice. Airports even track something called dwell time, the average number of minutes a passenger spends browsing before their flight. The longer your dwell time, the more money they make. That's part of the reason boarding announcements sometimes feel like they start later than they should. A few extra minutes in the terminal can mean millions in extra spending across thousands of passengers a day. Parking, the silent gold mine. Now here's a number that might shock you. At many international airports, parking revenue alone generates more profit per square foot than the terminal shops combined. A single multi-story parking structure can bring in tens of millions of dollars annually, sometimes with lower overhead than any other airport business.
Airport parking isn't just about convenience. It's psychological pricing at its finest. Short-term rates are set painfully high to push travelers toward long-term lots, or, better yet, third-party shuttle services that pay the airport a licensing fee just to operate nearby. Even the off-site parking lots you book through an app are often quietly connected to the airport's own revenue system through partnership agreements. Ever notice how confusing airport parking signage can be? That's not always poor design. Confusion creates hesitation, and hesitation often leads travelers to just pick the closest, most expensive option out of stress. There's another layer to this most people never consider. Some airports design their drop-off and pickup zones deliberately inconvenient, with short, free waiting windows before fees kick in. This nudges family and friends either to pay for quick parking or to circle the terminal repeatedly, burning fuel and time rather than waiting curbside for free. It sounds small, but multiplied across millions of pickups a year, it becomes a meaningful revenue stream almost nobody ever notices. The real estate empire you never see. Here's where it gets even bigger. Airports don't just profit from what happens inside the terminal. They profit from land you'll never even walk on. Massive airports often control enormous surrounding land banks, cargo facilities, hotel complexes, office parks, logistics centers, even golf courses, all leased out to private companies. This is called non-aeronautical land revenue, and at many of the world's busiest airports, it now outpaces the money made from landing fees and airline contracts combined. Some airports have quietly become some of the largest real estate developers in their entire region, without most passengers ever realizing it. Warehouses for e-commerce giants, hotel chains built specifically to capture layover traffic, entire business districts constructed around cargo access, all technically airport property, all generating steady, long-term income regardless of how many planes take off. There's even a term for this in the aviation industry, the aerotropolis. It describes an entire city built around an airport, where the airport isn't just a transit point, but the economic center of gravity for everything around it. Offices, retail centers, manufacturing plants, and residential zones, all planned around flight schedules and cargo routes. In this model, the airport isn't a building anymore. It's the anchor of an entire regional economy, quietly collecting rent, fees, and taxes from nearly every business built in its shadow. The lounge illusion. Now let's expose the lounge industry, because it's not what it seems either. Airport lounges appear to be a luxury perk, but they're actually a carefully built business layer stacked on top of your ticket. Many lounges aren't even owned by the airline you're flying. They're run by independent hospitality companies who pay the airport rent, then charge credit card companies and airlines access fees for their customers to enter. That free lounge access from your premium credit card? Someone is paying for it. A negotiated fee per visit, quietly passed along the chain. The soft lighting, the quiet hum, the illusion of exclusivity. It's a business model disguised as comfort. Even the food and drinks inside these lounges are part of the calculation. Lounge operators track exactly how much the average guest eats and drinks per visit, then negotiate access fees based on that data. If you've ever felt like some lounges quietly limit the good stuff to a back corner or keep premium drinks behind a counter instead of self-serve, that's not random. That's cost control, built directly into the design. Data, the invisible product. Here's the part almost nobody talks about. Airports today are some of the most sophisticated data collection environments on the planet. Free airport Wi-Fi isn't just a courtesy, it's a data pipeline. When you log in, you're often handing over your email, your browsing habits, your location patterns, sometimes even your device identifiers.
This information gets used for targeted advertising deals, retail placement decisions, and sold through data partnerships that most travelers never read about in the terms and conditions. Facial recognition boarding systems, foot traffic heat mapping through phone signals, even loyalty app tracking, all of it feeds into a larger picture. Airports now know exactly where you linger, what stores catch your eye, and how long you'll wait before buying an overpriced snack out of boredom. Every step you take through that terminal is quietly being measured. This data doesn't just help sell you things, it reshapes the entire terminal over time. Retailers who underperform get replaced. Walkways get redesigned based on foot traffic bottlenecks. Even lighting and music are adjusted based on how long people linger in certain zones. The airport you walk through today is a slightly different, slightly more optimized version of the one from a year ago, quietly rebuilt around your own behavior. Cargo, the business you never see. While passengers are busy paying for water bottles, there's a much larger financial engine running in the background. Air cargo, shipping, freight, e-commerce logistics, generates enormous, stable revenue for major airports, often with far higher margins than passenger operations. Global shipping demand means cargo planes are landing around the clock, paying steep landing and handling fees, feeding warehouses that operate 24 hours a day. In many cases, cargo operations are more profitable, more predictable, and less affected by economic downturns than passenger travel. The next time you order something online with next-day delivery, there's a strong chance it passed through an airport cargo hub that most travelers will never even glimpse. Some of the busiest airports in the world by total traffic aren't ranked by passengers at all. They're ranked by cargo tonnage. Entire airports exist almost exclusively to move freight, running through the night while passenger terminals sit quiet. It's an invisible economy, operating on a completely different schedule, generating billions with almost none of the public attention that passenger travel gets. Advertising, the billboard you can't escape. And finally, let's talk about the ads. Every screen, every backlit poster, every gate announcement sponsor, every branded charging station, all of it is sold advertising space. Airport advertising contracts are worth staggering amounts because airports offer something almost no other environment can: a captive, wealthy, stressed, and bored audience with nowhere to escape for hours at a time. You are, quite literally, the product being sold to advertisers the entire time you're waiting for your flight. Advertisers pay a premium specifically because of who they're reaching. Airport audiences skew toward business travelers and higher income passengers, which makes every ad placement more valuable than a similar ad on a city street or a bus stop. Baggage carousels, jet bridges, even the trays you use at security, all of it has been sold as advertising real estate at some point in airports around the world. Who actually owns the airport? Here's a question most people never think to ask. Who actually owns the airport you're standing in? The answer varies more than you'd expect. Some airports are fully government-owned and operated as public infrastructure. Others have been partially or fully privatized, run by private companies or investment groups whose entire goal is to maximize profit from every square foot of terminal space. And a growing number operate under long-term concession agreements, where a private operator pays the government for the rights to run the airport for decades, then works to extract as much non-aeronautical revenue as possible during that window. This ownership structure matters more than most travelers realize. A privately operated airport has every incentive to turn every hallway into a retail opportunity, every gate into an ad placement, and every parking space into a pricing tool. The airport experience you have is often a direct reflection of who owns it and what their profit targets look like. The psychology built into every hallway. Let's zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture, because none of this works without psychology. Airport designers work closely with behavioral consultants to shape how you move, feel, and spend. Long walks to gates aren't always about physical space constraints. They're sometimes designed to maximize your exposure to retail before you sit down. Uncomfortable public seating in certain zones nudges you toward paid lounges or restaurant seating instead. Even the absence of visible clocks in some shopping areas is intentional. Designers have long understood that people spend more freely when they lose track of time. The recycled air, the soft overhead lighting, the constant low hum of announcements. Every sensory element is part of an environment engineered to keep you calm enough to spend, but alert enough to make your flight. It's a strange, invisible balance, tuned over decades of behavioral data. The bigger picture. So the next time you walk through an airport, look a little closer. The overpriced coffee, the confusing parking signs, the free Wi-Fi, the lounge you swiped into, the ads on every screen, the land you never see beyond the runway. None of it is random. It's a finely tuned business ecosystem built to extract value from every single person who passes through, whether they ever board a plane or not. Airports don't just move people, they move money, quietly, constantly, and almost invisibly. From the moment you park your car to the moment you land at your destination, you're moving through one of the most sophisticated profit machines ever built. And most of it is hiding in plain sight, disguised as convenience. The next time someone tells you flying is expensive because of fuel costs and airline overhead, remember this video. The real money isn't always in the flight, it's in everything surrounding it. If this opened your eyes to what's really happening behind those terminal walls, hit follow for more hidden business breakdowns like this one. And drop a comment. Which part of this shocked you the most? The data tracking, the parking prices, the lounge fees, or the duty-free trick? If you want a full deep dive on one specific airport and exactly how much money it makes, let me know in the comments. That could be the next video.